What's going on, everyone? Question of the day. Does this stuff actually prevent flat tires? Today we find out. If you're not familiar with this is Tannus Armor. It's a foam-like polymer that goes inside your bike tire and all the way around your tube in order to prevent punctures. And they say that it's got up to 15 millimeters of puncture protection. That's about half an inch. They also say it makes the tire grip better because you're usually running a lower PSI, and then it smoothens out the ride quality, makes it more comfortable because it absorbs vibration. So, I mean, honestly, I like the Tannus. I've used it before. I've bought it in the past to put in bikes. This is free. Tannus sent me this set for free just to do some testing, but I've bought it myself in the past and put it in bikes. And I will say it does provide a better ride quality. It's a smoother ride. I think it does absorb vibration. As far as tire grip, I'm just riding around town on the streets and bike past greenways, so I don't really notice any difference in grip. And then puncture protection, that's what we're gonna solve today, because I've set up a little course here to run through some sharp stuff, and we're gonna find out if this actually works or not. Here's the plan. I got this bike, and here we go, our Cyrusher Komodo bike that has brand new tubes and tires on it. I bought some tires from Amazon. They were about 35 bucks each. They came with some tubes. So we're all set up with brand new tires. I've set up a gauntlet of sharp objects to run through. I'm gonna be riding this over stuff that I might find on the street, bike path, greenway, things like that. Things like nails, screws, staples, thumbtacks, little sharp things like that that can get stuck in your tire. Things that have popped my tire in the past. And we'll see how it does with and without the foam liners in it. So enough talk, let's go get a baseline test. All right, test number one, we're gonna run through all my sharp objects with just tubes and tires. No added puncture protection of any kind. All you got is the tire keeping you from popping the tube. And then I've got all my sharp objects. We're gonna do it over here in my driveway because I don't wanna spread sharp stuff all over the street. I've got some small wood screws, smashed up reflector. Actually popped my tire with one of these before. Some self-tapping metal screws, and thumbtacks. I think, and this is my bet, I think these are going to be highly efficient at popping tires. All right, let's back up here for our first pass through the gauntlet. No tire protection at all. Here we go. Okay, one pass complete. I want to hear if I hear any hissing. Nothing immediately. Let's go back for a second pass. Let's just run right back over it. Pass number two. I think we're doing good. I don't see anything stuck. Well, actually, there's tacks. Oh, yeah. The tacks are all through the tire. Let's just do another pass. Yeah. The tacks are going to be what gets us, I bet. Okay, as I thought, the thumbtacks are very, very good at puncturing tires. I mean, there's like probably 20 thumbtacks in these tires right now. See how we did on the front. Well, there's 3 right there. Ooh. Oh yeah, and there's another 7. Are we punctured though? It still feels firm. So they're sticking in there. They have not popped the regular tire yet. I mean, that one's all the way in the tire. I gotta believe that if I pull that out, it's gonna be a puncture. Oh yeah, it's hissing. So there you go. That one went the whole way in. So a lot of these, like this one, was just kind of hanging out there. With these ones, so we popped the back tire. We've already popped the back tire. I'm betting the front, they're sticking in my boots too. This is why I didn't want to do it in the street. I'm betting some of these, when you pull them out, are going to make this front tire hiss as well. So what was that, like 3 passes in order to get a flat? Yeah, when you pull these ones out that are deep in, it's gone. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We picked up 18 thumbtacks in just the rear tire alone with multiple punctures. Every time I pull one out, it's just psh, psh, psh. This tube is destroyed. All right, well now you know, Thumbtacks are awesome at popping bicycle tires. We had about 15 of them stuck in the front tire. It's destroyed. That tube didn't have a chance. It was probably popped after the first pass, honestly, but they didn't really start hissing and leaking until I started pulling the tacks out of the tire and unplugging the holes. So completely destroyed both tubes with multiple punctures. Now it's time to put in the Tannus Armor to see if this foam stuff can prevent punctures like that. The Thumbtacks, I mean, that was the killer. I put those, they're probably very similar to like those goat head thorns that people always run over. If I knew where to find those, I would go get some and try it. But the Thumbtacks are probably pretty similar as far as the depth of puncture. And I mean, I chose the smaller items like that because that's what this is meant for, to prevent small punctures. If you run over a 2-inch long drywall screw, yeah, this isn't gonna save you. Probably nothing's gonna save you. Well, here's our rear wheel. I took the tube out so you can see just how far these Thumbtacks were penetrating through. I mean, they're going right through the center of the tread. So this tire's protective liner doesn't really protect a whole lot. All right, time to put the Tannus Armor inside my tires. I've got 20 by 4-inch tires. So I've got the foam here that's meant for 4-inch wide tires. They make this in a whole bunch of different sizes, so get the correct size for the tires you're running. Couple quick install notes for you. If you are running a tire that's 3 inches or less, you need to use a smaller tube when you do the install. This takes up a lot of volume inside the tire, so you'll need a smaller tube. The 4-inch wide ones, there's a lot of volume to work with in there, so you can run just your regular tubes. You won't have to get smaller tubes. Next note on these fat tires is when you get it in there and you're all done, you're inflating it, you want to make sure it's above 15 PSI. I heard that somewhere on the Tannus website. You want the tire pressure high enough that this foam and the tube aren't kind of sliding around in there, because you could end up shearing off the valve stem if there's movement inside there, and that would of course cause a flat. So make sure you've got it inflated high enough that there's enough pressure in the tire, and check the tire pressure often, because once this is in there, you can't just check the tire pressure by squeezing the tire anymore, because it's going to feel stiff with the foam in there. So you have to check it with the tire pressure gauge to make sure it's adequate before you ride. But let's put this stuff in there. I'm going to try doing it this way. I've never done it this way before, but we'll see. We're going to put it inside the tire first, and then put the tire back on the rim. There we go. Is that going to work? I guess we'll see if it works this way. Whew! That was tight. Even if you have fat tires, you may want to run a smaller tube just for the ease of install, rather than trying to cram the large tube back in here, because the foam does take up a lot of space. All right, tube's in. Trying to get it unbunched as much as possible. Now we got to tuck the next edge of the Tannus in the tire in there. I believe you can trim this foam as well if it ends up being too much. Okay, all tucked in. Now we got to just tuck the tire in. There we go. It's in there. All right, all done. I put it at 18 PSI. That's what the other tires were at that I just ran. It's right where I normally run them. I didn't decrease any. But there's just a difference. I don't know if I can show you this or not. I doubt this comes through on camera, but as far as like dampening the vibration, I can hear it. You probably can't hear it on camera, but it just, you don't get any of that like rubber basketball bouncing on the pavement kind of ringing noise. You just, when you hit this tire, it's just a solid thud now. So I think that's what gives it the better ride quality. All right, time for round 2. Now we have the full protection of Tannus Armor in these tires. Well, let's run it through our little gauntlet again. See what happens. Can we prevent punctures? There's trip number 1. The Thumbtacks are already spreading all over the place, and I see about 20 in the wheel already. Those are a killer. Let's try some plastic. Now nails, sheet metal screws, Thumbtacks. Okay, we successfully got a lot of stuff stuck in these tires, I believe. Get some weight on them. There you go. If you're running over stuff like this, you got a problem. Well, let's see how it did. Tacks, the Thumbtacks. Holy, oh my God. There's gotta be like 25 right there. Wow, those Thumbtacks, man, they're a killer. The real question is, when I pull one of these out, is it gonna hiss? No hiss. I think our tube might still be intact. Trying to find one that's in the here. There's no hissing noises, so I don't think it popped the tube. That's 3, 4 I've taken out, 5. There's no hissing. I think it worked. I think it worked. And this didn't go far enough in. There you go. And here's our front tire. It is possibly even worse than the rear. There's like 30 something tacks in this thing, but let's pull one out that's deep. This one's pretty deep. No hissing noises. I think no hiss out of that one. I think we're good. I think it saved this tube. I don't think it popped, but I'm gonna let this bike sit for like maybe 20-30 minutes and then come back and check the air pressures and just see if they're down any, if there's any pops in here. All right, it's been about 30 minutes and these tires are still feeling very, very firm. So I don't think they're losing any air. Both of them feel pretty rock solid. I did pull about maybe 7 to 10 Thumbtacks out of each tire. The ones that were in there, I thought the deepest. That way, you know, if there was some kind of puncture, it would allow the air to escape, but they're feeling pretty good. I started with tire pressures around 18 PSI. So let's check them out and see where they're at. This will be the true test. Is it losing tire pressure? Started at 18 and we are at 18. Okay, so that tells me there's no leaks. If there is, they're super small because we haven't lost a single pound of pressure in 30 minutes. So I think our front tire is good. All right, the rear tire. How are we doing on this one? Let's get this thing on here. This one is showing 18. All right, I think we're good. So the Tannus Armor saved it. It saved from the Thumbtack punctures. I think it's time we torture it a bit more and maybe get some stuff deeper in there, see what it takes to pop these. All right, it's day 2. I ran out of daylight yesterday, but I've let this bike sit overnight with all the Thumbtacks in there to see if the tires lost any air pressure. They did fine. They didn't lose any air pressure overnight. They're still 17, 18 PSI. So I don't think any of those Thumbtacks in there punctured the tube. And there's like probably 30 in each tire. There's a lot of tacks in there, but I'm gonna torture this a little bit more today and see what it takes to get through the Tannus, how long things have to be. So here's the plan. I'm going to, since yesterday I couldn't get any of the screws and the self-tappers to penetrate the tire, the tacks did great, but these didn't go through. So I'm just gonna drill these right into the tire with my cordless drill, and we'll make sure they get in there. The Thumbtacks, they stick out. There's about 8 millimeters that gets into the tire. That's not enough to pop the tire, apparently. So the self-tappers, they're about 12.5 millimeters. And then I've got these little like wood screws that are very, very sharp, and they go in about 14 millimeters. But I'm gonna put these in first, the self-tappers in first. We'll drill a few in, and then I'm gonna go ride the bike. I'm gonna take the Thumbtacks out though. I'm gonna pull those out. I don't wanna put tacks all over the street and sidewalks for the neighborhood kids. All right, I just pulled 20 tacks out of the front tire and 22 out of the back, not counting what I pulled out already yesterday. So the Tannus withstood like 40, 50 punctures from tacks without popping. Pretty good. Let's put some self-tappers in there. These are going to make big holes. Let's drill them in now and see what happens. All right, I don't think this is going to pop it, but we'll see. I'm going right here. Here we go. It's in there. I don't think these are going to fly out. I was worried about the tacks flying out, but these are going to be screwed in, so I don't think they're going to come flying out as I ride it. And I don't think these are going to pop it. I don't think they're long enough, and they're not as sharp as those as those wood screws are going to be. I'm going to go a little, it's thickest, I'm sure, in the center. So let's do a little off-center one over here. We'll go through the side a little bit. We now got studded tires for winter. Still feels okay. Let's go ride. All right, we're out riding with our self-tapping screws in the tire right now. No problems yet. It seems to still be holding there. Get a shot of it rolling there. We got basically studded winter tires on here now. It's holding so far. I don't want to go out on me on like a turn or something though. 17 miles an hour, no problem. I don't think this is gonna pop it, really. Let's go, we should put in the longer screws. Take this out. Oops, that's in further. Nothing, no air release noises. So yeah, these aren't, I guess, long enough or sharp enough. We rode with these in there, no problem. They made big holes in the tire. Big old holes. All right, here's our next item. We got these wood screws here, a little bit longer and a lot sharper. I'm gonna put these in with a screwdriver. That way I can kind of go a little slower. There we go, get in there. Let's listen for air. Nothing yet. Okay, it's in. I didn't hear any pops. Let's do a couple more. I'm not counting the head of the screw. I mean, the part that goes in is 14 millimeters long. But you got to get through the tire. That's probably a millimeter or two there. There's 2 in there. Let's put it, I'm going to put it, I'm using my hand. I got another like 7 more in my hand here. I'm going to go a little off center on this one. Let's go over here. All right, there's 3 in there. This is impressive so far. I don't know if I back one of these out, if it would, I mean, I could try backing one out and see if air comes out. Let's try it real quick. Take this one back out. There's no air release noise yet. I don't know, I don't see any air bubbling through. And we'll do one on this side, a little bit further over. Maybe not as thick over there. I'm putting them in roughly the same area so I remember to get them all out of there. Okay. How many's in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in there. I got 2 more in my hand. Let's just put them all in. All right, and there's number 9. All right, we got 9 of these in there. Let's go for a ride. This is impressive, honestly. I mean, the Thumbtacks just destroyed the regular tube and tire. And now I've got 14 millimeters of wood screw in there. And it's holding right now. It feels firm. Who knows? It could be leaking a little. You never know. But let's put more stress on it here. I would think if anything's going to push it through, that it would be this. Come on, pop. It seems to be holding. Let's go back to the garage and pull them out of there and see if any air comes out or not. All right, let's take a few out. I think this might be the moment of truth. If we get air release when we take them out. I didn't hear anything on that one. Number 2. I didn't hear anything on that one. Number 3. This one's a little off to the side. Oh, air. There we go. It's off center. That one penetrated. I hear air. So we got a puncture finally, because it wasn't in the deepest part of the foam. I only hear that one so far. Let's try this one on the side here. I think maybe that one too. The ones in the center did not go through. It gets a little thinner on the sides. So depending on where Yeah, that's the main one. And maybe that one. So we successfully popped a tire. Yeah, these ones here, off center. So we found the limits. We were right at that limit of, 14, 15 millimeters. So I would say it's probably got the most, like they said, up to 15 millimeters protection. That's probably right down the center. All right, I got one last test I want to do, and that's regarding the longevity of the Tannus Armor. So you put this foam in your tires, right? And over time, if you never deflate your tire, then that foam is just getting squished down thinner and thinner and thinner. So a year from now, and it's super thin, have you lost your puncture protection? Now, Tannus says by squishing it down like that, you're actually condensing it and making it even more difficult to penetrate through. But let's test it out. Lucky for us, I can test this because this bike on the wall right here with the blue tires, I put Tannus Armor in those tires in November of 2022. So that armor has been in there for 3 years and I have never deflated the tire. So I am sure it's as thin as it can possibly get. All right, now as I take this bike down, I will say this. I think the ideal scenario is that you deflate your tires a little bit whenever you're not riding in order to keep that foam as thick as possible in there. And maybe you do that if you're like a cycling enthusiast, right? But I'm coming at this from the perspective of you're just riding a fat tire e-bike for leisure like this, and you're not deflating your tire every time. All right, we got some thumbtacks here. Moment of truth. Put your guesses in the comment section. You think it's going to protect this tube and tire? I don't know, man. If it was fresh foam, I'd say there's no way it's popping. Being that it's been in there for 3 years pumped up and it's totally flat, I'm going to give it a 50-50 shot. 50-50. Here we go. I'm going to go right here on this blank spot and push it in. It's in. I don't know if it protected it. Let's find out. I'm going to pull it out and see if it leaks air. I don't hear any air leaking. I think it's safe. I think it worked. Let's try it up here. And we'll put one in over here. Okay, I didn't hear any bursting. Let's take them out. And I don't hear air leaking. It's safe. Wow. I don't hear any air leaks. It worked. It still worked. So there you go. I mean, even after 3 years in there, never deflated. All right, so it withstood the Thumbtacks. That's as far as I'm going to go with it because, like I said, I don't want to ruin this wheel by putting a bunch of holes in it. Wow. Okay. Okay, now I am impressed. Now I'm a little impressed with that. I thought it was going to be 50-50. Honestly, I kind of thought I was going to pop it, but safe. All right, everybody. Here are some of my final thoughts on the Tannus Armor. The first thing I'm going to say is this stuff is not cheap, right? This 20 by 4 inch set that I tested sells for about 150 bucks. So some people are going to look at that and not even bat an eye at the price. And other people are going to say, absolutely no way, I'm not paying that. So I'll leave that decision up to you. Now, regarding puncture protection, which is what I wanted to focus on in this video, from what I've seen, I would say this seems excellent at protecting from the small objects. Thumbtacks, thorns, bits of glass, small screws and nails. That stuff doesn't get through. You can see all the holes that are in this liner, that it stopped a lot of stuff. I mean, this thing protected the tube from over 50 thumbtack punctures. Without the liners, the thumbtacks just went right through the tire and totally annihilated the tube. So it works definitely for small punctures. And they say it has up to 15 millimeters of puncture protection. And I agree with that, but you got to realize that's probably at the thickest point right down the center of this foam. As you go toward the edge of the tread, it's going to get a little bit thinner. That puncture protection depth is not quite as deep over here. This was able to protect the tube from that 14 millimeter wood screw, the ones that went toward the center here. But when you got to the edges, it wasn't able to stop it. So it does have its limitations. But overall, pretty impressed with how many punctures this stuff stopped. I mean, even the 3-year-old Tannus in that tire up there that's probably pretty flattened out was able to still stop the thumbtacks, no problem. Regarding ride quality, does it absorb vibration and make for a smoother ride? I mean, I don't know how in the world I would illustrate that in a video, but for me, I will say, I think it rides smoother with the Tannus liners in the tire. I mean, it's a very subjective thing, but it's one of the reasons I like this stuff. It just feels smoother. When you're running over objects in the road or bumps in the road, it feels softer. So maybe you can add some input here into the comment section. If you've used Tannus before, you're using it now, does the ride quality feel better? Let everyone know in the comments. All right, well, there you go. I hope this video gave you some insight into the puncture protection of the Tannus Armor and if it might work for you or not. Now, I'm gonna put the stock tires back on this bike, these Airsun tires. I like them better than those cheap Amazon tires. And yes, I will be putting the Tannus Armor inside. See you in the next one.